Good evening. I'm Nisa Petrilli.
I'm Jay Kaplan.
I'm Steve Ferguson.
And I'm Anthony Strait.
And this is the On the Sports Lines MLB Spring Training Edition. The beginning of March means umpires are yelling play ball at exhibition games all across Florida and Arizona. It's also the perfect time to welcome back a couple of old friends to talk about the Yankees and Mets as spring training is in full swing. We'll also talk college basketball with teams on the bubble and teams in the crosshairs with the FBI investigation into cheating and corruption in the sport. As always, you can find us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at OnTheSportsLines and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/OnTheSportsLines. In 2017, the Yankees weren't expected to make the playoffs, let alone get one game away from the World Series. In 2018, the usual title expectations are back. Here to discuss what to look for this season is Katie Sharp, who writes for the Yankees blog, River Avenue Blues. Welcome back to the show, Katie. How you doing tonight? Doing good?
I'm doing great.
Good, good, good. Well, Jay's batting leadoff tonight, so first question to Katie is yours.
Thanks, Nisa. Hey, pal, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Jay. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so Katie, the acquisition of Giancarlo Stanton gives the Yankees quite a big mix in the rotation between outfield and DH. How do you see it shaking out between Stanton, Judge, Hicks, Gardner, and yes, even Jacoby Ellsbury?
We've clearly got this, situation with 5 players for 4 spots.
Yep.
And it looks like, obviously Ellsbury is going to set the record for the most expensive 5th outfielder in baseball history. So that should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, the way I see it is that we've got, an opening day lineup of Hicks in center,
Yep.
Stanton at DH, and then Judge in right and Gardner in left.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, and then it looks like, from what I've seen and what I've heard, is that Judge is going to get most of the at-bats in the left for when Gardner is resting or when Gardner moves to center. Just because I think that they want to keep Stanton fresh, and he's obviously a little bit older. He's a little bit far more removed from playing left field. He did have some time there when he was at Double-A and Single A as a minor leaguer. That was, obviously at least 6-7 years ago, maybe even more. Whereas Judge last year, or actually in Triple-A, I believe in 2016, he did spend some time there in left field, about 50 innings or so. So he's a little bit more familiar with left field than Stanton, so I can see him getting more time there than Stanton. But I think they both will.
Okay.
They want to keep Gardner fresh.
Yep.
So he'll definitely be resting. Maybe I don't think he'll play more than 120 games this year.
Interesting.
If he can. So that's kind of the way I see it playing out. And I think Hicks will be a center. He'll spend most of his time in center.
Yep.
He can bounce around as well.
Yep. It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Stephen D.
Yes. Hi, Katie. How are you? It's Steve Ferguson.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good, good. I have a question for you. My question is, how does the acquisition of Brandon Drury impact Gleyber Torres and Miguel Andujar breaking camp with the team?
Well, this is the hot topic here right now in everywhere in New York. And it's because basically, Miguel Andujar has been tearing the cover off the ball here in spring training. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as we talked here on Thursday, he's 6 for 14, 4 homers so far. But, the way that I see it is that obviously when they made the trade for Drury, it was clearly that they felt like Andujar's bat, he definitely has an elite bat, but they were a little bit skeptical of his defense, obviously, and they felt like they needed some insurance there. And Drury definitely has the leg up in this exciting third base competition based on his big league credentials, more reliable defense. But at this point, it looks to be a real competition. And Andújar is not giving up. So he's making it really, really hard for them to make a decision here. But we do have to look at sort of the context of what Andújar is doing. Obviously, it's a super small sample size, less than 15 at bats. And you also have to look at where those home runs, everyone loves the master, the home runs, the mammoth shots, but look at who they're coming against.
Right.
Three of them have
good
been
point.
against career minor leaguers. And the only big league pitcher he's homered against, which was Nick Pivetta of the Phillies on Thursday, he had the worst ERA in the NL last year and the
Yes, he
highest
did.
home run rate in the NL last year, among guys with 130 innings. So we just need to, I think, obviously need to pump the brakes a little bit. It's really exciting to see such, a young guy with the confidence and the talent that he has. But I think that Drury still has the leg up in the race right now, the competition. But it should be really fun for the next month to see how this plays out. And I think it is going to be an open competition. I don't think Drury has lost or anything like that.
Cool.
I think
Anthony.
you're right.
Hey, Katie, how you doing? It's Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Hi. My question for you tonight is a pretty straightforward one. Do you see General Manager Brian Cashman making any more roster moves before the end of camp?
No, I don't. And that's because reportedly they have about $25 million to spend under the luxury tax threshold. And that includes $10 million that they will set aside for a mid-season edition. And, that's sort of a minimum for the mid-season. I could see them keeping all $25 million just to be safe. I don't think, obviously they've come out and said that pretty much they're not going to go for any of the big ticket guys like Cobb or Lynn. And that's, a lot of that is due to the qualifying offer. They'd have to give up draft picks and international bonus money, which I don't see them doing. So I see them basically sitting out free agency at this point, saving their money to really load up at mid-season, but they have a better sense of their needs. Because right now, they have 5 starters or 5 positions in the rotation, plus some really nice depth in AAA with Luis Dessa, Chance Adams, Justice Sheffield.
Yep.
So, and I think, they're coming off a season when they ended up, their starting rotation was 6th in the majors in adjusted ERA and 6th in pitching wins above replacement. So I don't see them really needing to make an addition at this point. I think they're pretty confident with what they have. And obviously they've already brought in some infield depth. So that's not an issue anymore.
All right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So,
Well,
yeah.
that's Katie Sharp from River Avenue Blues. You can follow her on Twitter @KTSharp. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, Katie.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Well, the Mets had a disappointing, injury-filled 2017. 2018 has old faces returning to health and new faces bringing hope. Here to discuss what to look for this season is Greg Prince, who writes for the Mets blog Faith and Fear in Flushing. Welcome back to the show, Greg.
Okay.
Greg, do we have you?
Yes.
Great. So Steve's got the first question, Greg.
Yeah, hi Greg, it's Steve Ferguson. How are you?
Oh, good, doing good.
Very good. My question to you is this. With players returning from injury and the new additions, how do you see the starting rotation shaping up?
Well, it's still early, so I'm hoping that all the return from injury is for real so far, knockwood, with the exception of DeGrom, who is a big exception if anything goes wrong. But
Yes.
everybody's looking good, and supposedly DeGrom is coming along. Jake and Noah Syndergaard are Gibbons, Fox, if everybody is healthy. They didn't bring in Jason Vargas to sit on the sideline, so I kind of envision him as a 3 or 4. They seem very intent on making sure Steve is in there. He's their only lefty to speak of. And, I don't think they're suddenly sending Matt Harvey anywhere, as long as he's healthy and can throw. So I think that's your rotation with a lot of guys kind of either hanging back in the bullpen or at least 1 or 2 of them being on call in Vegas.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yep. Hey, Greg, it's Jay. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Jay.
So Mickey Callaway has said that he may not go with a dedicated closer, instead going more closer by committee based on game situation. What's your take on this strategy?
I think it's one of those things that sounds really good on paper, and I think in a short series it makes perfect sense, and I think on an odd evening here and there, depending on who's tired, I think you'll end up doing that. There's something so ingrained in the baseball culture about the closer, and he's got 2 of them. Familia, the reigning Mets closer, Ben Ramos, who certainly has his experience doing it with the Marlins and a little bit with the Mets late last year.
Yeah.
So I just get the sense that eventually you kind of fall into the habit of using your 8th inning guy and your 9th inning guy. You run the risk of confusing guys if they get them too early, too late. That said, if you've got the guy coming up in the 5th inning, the game on the line, and you say, boy, I really wish we had Familia in there, and you want to put Familia in there, be my guest.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Anthony.
Greg, how you doing? It's Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi. Well, the Mets have a number of new additions to the team this season, and my question to you tonight is, which one of those new additions intrigues you the most?
They're an interesting bunch because they're kind of, I call them a professional class, guys who've been around, guys who don't seem like they're going to surprise you all that much. I think the guy I'm kind of interested to see what he's like across a full season is Bob Frazier. Frazier certainly has power. He certainly has personality. I'm interested to see if the changes he made to his approach last year when his walks were up, maybe his strikeouts were down, pay off. I think he has the power that's going to make us happy as Mets fans, but I think if we're talking about a guy who's hitting 210 in June is going to try our patience. So if he has made and he's on base enough and he's doing the rest of what makes Todd Frazier appealing, I think that's a really good pickup.
Yeah, could be.
I agree. Greg Prince from Faith and Fear in Flushing. You can follow him on Twitter at Greg_Prince. Thanks for being with us tonight, Greg.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
March Madness is 2 weeks away, and with conference tournaments running from now till Selection Sunday on March 11th, it's time for our annual Bubble Watch segment. We'll be looking at 3 teams who need to impress the committee if they're going to make the field of 68. Anthony, who's your bubble team to watch heading into conference tournaments?
Well, my bubble team is the Mississippi State Bulldogs as the XCC, and you look at their numbers, the 21-9, 9-8 in the conference. They have a very soft non-conference schedule that's actually holding them back right now. And they've had some golden opportunities to get some quality wins along the way. You look at Auburn, Tennessee, who they lost to the other night, that really handed them a big blow to the tournament hopes. You look at their resume right now. They don't have a lot of good quality wins. So they have to win the season finale against LSU, and the way it looks, because they had that bad loss against Tennessee at home, they may have to run the table or really perform well in the SEC tournament to give themselves a chance, at least to make their resume look good to the tournament selection committee. Because they've had everything in front of them. They've had Kentucky and Auburn, and they lost with single digits. They had games there. And they only had one bad loss, and that was really to Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. And that can't be considered a bad loss. So they have their work cut out for them, but they're going to have to really run the table in the SEC tournament to have a chance.
Yeah, Steve.
I'm going to be looking at UCLA. And
Your favorite team.
Yes, it is. We're not talking about the John Wooden Bruins.
No,
but
we are not.
This is still a pretty good team. They were 19-8 in the regular season. Now, what they have to do, they really probably have to win at least 2 of their last 3 games. They can't lose to USC, their arch rival, or to Oregon, or especially Utah. The one player that UCLA has that's a terrific player and their leader is Aaron Holiday. This guy he averages 20.9 points per game in conference games and 19.8 in the regular season. He's a gritty, tough player, doesn't worry about statistics. His motto is play hard and get after it. And he is, without question, the guy who has to play the best for them the last 3 games that they're able to get into the tournament.
You know, and I'm going to be looking at the Syracuse Orange Men, who, as of right now, are on ESPN's First 4 Out. On CBS, their last 4 in, and they're presenting like they have for the last few years as a middle-of-the-pack ACC team. No wins against the top tier of UVA, Duke, or the Tar Heels, though they played the Tar Heels to the wire. They're 2-1 against the next tier, which is NC State, Vatech, and Miami. They seriously shot themselves in the foot losing to BC by 15. They have a chance to close out the season with a win over Clemson, and they're going to need that not only to improve their record against quadrant 1 games to 3-7, but they're also, that would be pretty much their only win against a ranked team all year. Best case, they finish 19-12, 8-10 in the ACC. That, coupled with at least 1 win in the tournament, has usually been enough to get a team with their resume into the tournament in the past. But I don't know if it will be this year, considering the depth of the bubble. RPI is 44, strength of schedule overall is 15, non-conference SOS is 21. Those are all elite numbers. The big minus, like I said, 2-7 against quadrant 1, 16-5 against quadrants 2, 3, and 4. You know, and they've only lost 5 games by double digits. They haven't been blown out in any game by 20 points or more. I think their RPI is going to give them a shot, but they needed that win against BC to go along with a win that they now have to get against Clemson. And now I think they have to do more than just win 1 game in the ACC tournament to get off the bubble and into the bracket. We'll see what happens.
We shall see. Well, the latest news in the FBI's investigation into corruption and cheating in college basketball broke last weekend as Yahoo Sports released the names of players, coaches, and teams who could be implicated in possibly breaking NCAA rules. What are the immediate ramifications? What does the NCAA need to do when the FBI steps away? How big a stain will this leave on the sport? Our guys will tackle all of these questions. Jay, start us off. What's your take on the information that Yahoo revealed?
My take is that despite how loud the drum is being banged with that report being released and the follow-up coverage by ESPN, I do not see much being done in terms of dominoes falling or heads rolling. Look, the NCAA typically drags its heels on situations like this because that's who they are, but this is going to be exacerbated by the fact they're going to have mountains of documents and evidence that's been collected by the FBI to go through to determine what constitutes a dank violation or what's an actual smoking gun, like Sean Miller being caught on a wiretap talking about $100 grand with ASM's Christian Dawkins to get DeAndre Ayton to play for Arizona. Look, the listing of the blue blood programs like Duke, Kentucky, NC, and Michigan State, being on this list of possibly having impermissible benefits or preferential treatment or even money changing hands gets everybody to listen. But I mean, there's a big difference between Dawkins saying he paid $100 for lunch for somebody and him looking to get paid back for 4- and 5-figure loans to players who are in high school and college. Look, bottom line, you may have 20 programs and 25 players implicated by this, but here's the deal for me, guys. I think this is going to leave an impact on the sport, but the problem for me is the NCAA has been blind to a system that's been broken for a while. Their job is to catch stuff like this. They have it. They failed epically, and it's not for the first or even second time.
And you talked about the system. The system is broken.
Yeah.
But it's broken in the fact that everyone has benefited except for the players themselves.
Yep.
You look at the college basketball national television schedule, $8.8 billion contract deal for March Madness. Then you look at the fact that according to a report, they make over $900 million revenue. Everyone seems to be getting a piece of the pie, and some of the highest coaches in the league, like Mike Krzyzewski or John Calipari, are making millions of dollars.
Millions.
But the students, like Miles Bridges, have to pay back $40
to a charity
to stay eligible. And it's got to be some way that you can fairly compensate the student athletes in some sort of way where it's not jeopardizing their amateur status, but also at the same time it's fair. I mean, you look at, and also you mentioned the NCAA. retroactively punishing a school does nothing.
No!
I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, punishing Louisville and taking away their banner is not going to erase the fact that they have a team highlight video out there that champagne and celebrations happened 4 years ago, and the fact that Michigan are not national champions for that year. Well, if you're going to hit them, take away some of those scholarships. Why don't you punish the coaches as a whole, not just one or two? You know, if you're going to lay down the hammer, do it where it actually affects the colleges, not just for that season, but down the line.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that the FBI is doing the NCAA a favor, and it's up to the NCAA to get their head out of the sand and actually do something. Because right now, everyone is winning except for the guys who are taking the court night in and night out and are missing classes and are missing whole semesters to bring in all this money for the colleges.
Yeah, Steven, look, this is going to leave a stain on the game, man.
It is. I mean, now if you're a casual fan, it's not going to matter a whole lot to you, frankly. But if you're a serious college basketball fan, this is insane. And if you remember earlier in the year, I was asked, are scandals just continuing on, or are we going to see another one this year? Well, it's gotten to the point it's a broken record now. Because every year we're hearing more and more scandals coming out, and it's just like, when is this going to end? And to be honest with you, I think another thing, we're talking about players getting paid to play. Why not? I mean, it's about time. You look at these guys who play for Michigan or UCLA, quality professional, almost professional levels teams. Why don't they pay like the top 4 or 5 best players on those teams at least some money? And even the kids who go to like a Utah or an Iowa, they should be paid some money if they're the best players, because they might be the best entertainment in the state that they play in.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, we're talking about college basketball, but don't think college football's far behind in the muck right now.
Well, that music means it's time for the 3-minute warning. Anthony, lead us off.
Thanks, Steve. It has not been a great several months for Dallas Cowboy owner Jerry Jones. First, the star running back Ezekiel Elliott was suspended for several games by the NFL for violating the postal conduct policy. That started a season-long war between him and Commissioner Roger Goodell when he tried to stage a coup to block Goodell's contract extension. Somehow, he managed to find time to create controversy with his own players when he threatened to bench players who protested during the national anthem. Oh, and the Cowboys missed the playoffs. The latest blow to Jerry World is a fine being handed down by fellow NFL owners for a $2 million reimbursement since he threatened to sue the league over Goodell's contract talks. Jones thought bullying other wealthy owners was a good idea. Bad move. Dallas may be the NFL's richest franchise, but only 2 playoff wins in 23 years personifies the constant circus in Big D with Jerry as the ringleader. Jerry Jones will, of course, not learn his lesson. Does anyone even remember he was inducted into the Hall of Fame last summer?
Victimized for honesty, Magic Johnson. As kids growing up, we're taught many things instrumental in shaping our lives. Besides the golden rule, one of them is honesty is the best policy. I've always ascribed to that with diplomacy. If that's the way most good adults live, then why should anyone be penalized for telling the truth as Magic Johnson did? All he said was the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best player. For telling the truth, he was fined $500,000 by the NBA. I mean the No Bleeping Sense Association. Remember, the truth shall set ye free, and the NBA needs to applaud the truth rather than admonish it.
NCAA President Mark Emmert may be a graduate of both Syracuse and Washington, but his latest move has me thinking he spent some time at Hogwarts learning spells with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. House explained his making 123 wins and the 2013 National Championship disappear from Louisville. Those were among the penalties resulting from an investigation into allegations that a former Louisville staffer arranged for strippers and sex acts to be provided to players and recruits during on-campus parties from 2011 to 2015. Louisville's appeal was denied, and thus they are the first team to vacate a title in the Final Four era. Now, while I agree with the 4 years probation, the scholarship reductions, and the recruiting restrictions, the $5,000 fine, and the forfeiture of any money they got from conference revenue sharing from the 2012 through 2015 NCAA tournaments, which could turn out to be millions, but taking away wins and banners is pointless, especially if you're not going to give the wins to their opponents or give the 2013 title to Michigan. The games were played, the stats and film are still there, the Louisville players still have their championship rings. Take away the scholarships so they can't get 5-star recruits. Take away postseason appearances. Take away the money. But taking away the wins and the title just makes the NCAA look petty. And with everything else that's going on, such as the way both LeBron and Stan Van Gundy have ripped them recently, petty isn't a look they want to have these days.
The 2018 Winter Olympics are over, and there were plenty of exciting moments and performances to remember. One of the most feel-good stories, of course, is Chloe Kim. With all the pressure on her coming in as the gold medal favorite, 17-year-old Kim lived up to the hype and exceeded expectations in her very first Olympics in Pyeongchang. She was talented enough to have made the Olympics 4 years ago in Sochi, but she just wasn't old enough. She put in the hard work and waited patiently for 4 years to finally have her shot at Olympic gold. Kim became the youngest woman to win a gold medal in snowboarding, making it look effortless while landing the 2 highest scoring runs of the women's halfpipe final. She did all of this in the backdrop of her parents' home country of South Korea, where many of her extended family still live. Even her 75-year-old grandmother was there cheering her on. Chloe Kim is an incredible talent with a bright future ahead of her, and we look forward to watching her in future Olympic Games. For Jay Kaplan, Steve Ferguson, and Anthony Strait, I'm Nisa Petrilli. Thanks for spending part of your evening with us. We'll see you on March 15th for the On the Sports Lines March Madness special. Remember, if you want to see this show again or catch up on any of the ones you might have missed, check us out at youtube.com/onthesportslines. And check out Anthony's great piece on Rangers goalie Henrik Lundqvist at onthesportslines.blogspot.com. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Everyone.